Alright, gonna do a video on reloading the 7.62 by 20 French loung. Originally it was a cartridge developed around World War I for the Penderson device that they used in the Springfield 03 rifle, and the government scrapped that idea and they made a bunch of ammo, and I guess they left it all in France after the war. So in 1935, the French developed two new handguns. Okay, this is a 1935 S, and there was an A, which is it's a variation of it. But they both fire this cartridge, which is a 30 caliber, a long, thin 30 caliber cartridge. The cartridge has long been since obsolete. The French adopted a 9mm pistol back in the 50s, and of course, these things are on a surplus market. They're not extremely rare, but you can find them quite easily, even though the price on these things is going up. But for years, the only way you can shoot these is using old ammo, okay, which we all know now, even if it was made up until the 60s or something, a lot of this stuff is deteriorating and not that good, So you'd like to shoot something comparable that works in your gun that's, kind of freshly made, so for safety reasons and everything else. So what happened is, about 2 years ago, Starline Brass added this cartridge to its list, okay, which I have a 1,000 round box of this stuff. Okay, right here, 1,000 empty cases. Okay, and it is correct. It is dimensionally correct brass. What you would have to have done is take 32 Smith & Wesson long, machined it, recut the head, cut a groove, all this other stuff. You got the stuff. It's available in a couple different sizes directly from Starline, and well, when it was in stock, you could go to a retailer and get 100 pieces of it, I believe, in a retail bag. It's the smallest quantity you're going to get. So, everyone's been trying to reload this. The problem is it takes about a 90 grain bullet. It's a little bit, I checked them. I did the video where I measured them. They're like 310, about 310 is what it is. It's an odd bullet. Okay, it's a metric size, it's odd. It is not like a 307 or a 308 that goes in a 30 caliber. And it's 90 grains, and it's long, has a long nose and thin. So there's really nothing out there like it, and most people run into the problem of the bullet. What type of bullet to use, and then again, load data. So what I've done is I've watched on different forums, I've seen people have videos doing it. So now I'm taking a crack at it. And what I decided to do is the big problem, number one, is the bullet. Okay, so I looked around and I went to Noe Bullet Molds. And I got this bullet mold here, usual Noe quality, it's 4 cav. And the number is 31584 RF A2A. Here it is right there. So you can pause the video and write down this number and go to their website and find the bullet molds. They are available in 2 cavity, I think up to 5 cavity, some of them. I got a 4, that's all I had in stock. And I think you can get them with or without the gas check. I got it with the gas check because we're going to step this bullet up, and this is not a revolver bullet. This has to cycle the automatic action. Alright, so now another thing I'm going to need you guys to do is I make these videos for a reason. Now when I make the video and you don't pay attention and you're sending me emails and ask me in the comments, asking me questions that if you watched the video, it would answer it. Okay? So this is going to be my last time making a reloading video where I explain to you what I use. I am not going to explain it in detail. If you do not know how to reload, basic reloading principles, I'm not going to answer those questions. You have to find it out for yourself. So, when I started this project, okay, again guys, pay attention. I got Starline brass, so I have the correct brass. Now, dies. I went and got an Rcbs 3 die set. That's it right there. This may or may not be in production, I have no idea. Rcbs come out with these. They are expensive because they are unusual and they don't sell a lot of them. The reason these dies would be more expensive is they don't sell as many as say like 30-06 or 270. Okay? And it's 3 die set. Got resizing die decapper, got a neck expander, and you got a seating crimp die. Okay? You will also need the special custom order, battery die, Rcbs shell holder. Okay? This ain't cheap either. So I got the shell holder that is different. I don't think it's a standard catalog item. I got the shell holder and I got the die set. What you are going to need on top of this, okay, is even though you have an expanding plug in there, you are going to need a Lee universal expanding die. Buy the Lee universal expanding die, and it'll have 2 little pieces in there. Keep them because you're going to need them. But what I've done is when I bought this bullet mold from Noe, they sell expanding plugs that work with the Lee universal expander. So you must have one of these. So why did I pick this bullet mold? Well, 85 grains and 315, that's diameter. So I tried one time to load this with Barry's 32 caliber plated bullets, and they were, I think, 80 grains or 82 grains or something. It was for a 32 ACP, and it didn't quite work well. Plus, Barry's is a very soft lead that's got a copper plating on it, or a copper jacket plating. It's still a soft bullet. Okay, I wanted something a little bit harder with a little bit better resistance. So I'm using a pretty hard cast bullet with a gas check, and it's oversized. So what other tools you're going to need is, again, I strongly suggest, and this is probably one of the best products. If you like Noe Bullet Molds, he always makes his bullet molds a few thousandths over the size you need. And you can always size them down exactly where you need it. You get this sizing die body, and what it is, it's this body here, comes with 3 of these, and it's just different size holes. Okay, this is for like a small diameter, and say you got a 44 caliber, well, you'll have another one of these that locks into the basic die. Then on this end is your sizing bushings. Sizing bushings, and it costs about 30-35 bucks for the die body setup. Okay. And then what you would do is you buy one of these sizing bushings, and this plugs into the bottom of that body. This one here is for 313 pounds. And these only cost like 10-11 bucks, the bushings. So once you buy the sizing die body, and it works just like the Lee type, you push it up through, you're good to go. Okay? And you can either buy the bushing with the appropriate pusher rod, or what comes in the kit. And that comes with the body, is this goes into your press, and that is a top punch. You can have them machine you a RCBS lineman top punch, which screws in here, and you turn the bullet upside down and run it up the sizer, and that's what I do because they're gas checked. And I only use Hornady crimp-on gas checks, okay? You want to go get the ones that are 2 cents cheaper. They cost about a nickel a piece retail by the time you get them, okay, delivered. You want to use, I wouldn't use the ones, I tried buying some of the ones NEO has, Gator or something. They're bad. They split, they're not that good, they're not crimp-on. A lot of people will go and make them, okay? I don't do that. I use the best. Hornady crimp-on gas checks, and they work fine for me, okay? You want to substitute it with something else, great, but, you know, and don't tell me to go to this website and buy this other brand because they're 2 cents less a piece or something. No, I just used Hornady crimp-on gas checks, okay? Bear that in mind. All right, so you're going to need the holder and body, okay, or the sizing body and the appropriate bushing, top punch, which you can order with the bullet mold, and then you're going to need, and this is where the Lee Universal Expanding Die comes in. Noe also makes expanding plugs that are the exact size, and you have different sizes and that. This one here is 317, 312, and actually I'm using, for what I ended up with, the one I'm using is, I think, 314, 310. So if you're going to use my method, you're going to need, and I've sized them to 312. I've taken this bullet and I found that sizing it to 312 works, and you are going to need an expansion plug that is going to be listed as 314, 310, okay, giving you 2 thousandths neck tension. And what that thing looks like is this. It'll be to the exact size to give you the proper neck tension and expand the mouth enough to seat the bullet. So I would seriously look into it. So I will repeat it again. I am using a 312 bushing in the bottom of this die, this sizing die body. 312 bushing and a 314, 310, 314, 310 expanding plug, and it'll be under pistol plugs. That's what I'm using to do this, okay? So that about covers all the tools. So you can cast the bullets, size the bullets, put the gas checks on. I pan lube them, I press the gas checks on, pan lube them, then I run them up the sizer and they're all set, ready to go. So, let's go. We'll take a look at the bullet. I'll explain the bullet to you. And it's not exact, but what I'm getting is I'm getting the diameter that's past the groove diameter, and I'll explain that when we look at the bullets. Here's a close look at the bullets that come out of this mold. I'm not quite sure what he designed this bullet for, maybe the Rcb or whatever, but raw cast, the bullet comes out 80 grains, okay, and it is 315 diameter, 315, 316, so that's more than enough. I believe from the size of the bullets, it's got about a 312 groove diameter. So I was shooting to go over, and I'll explain when I go with the cartridges. I tried sizing them to 314, and that did not quite work. It was still too large, it wouldn't function, so I ended up going with 312, which is here. Now, lubed, sized with the addition of the gas check. These bullets now weigh 84 grains. And the gas check does go on there rather well, seats good, and is square. So you got a nice copper base to your bullet. I prefer doing this other than powder coating. So don't mention powder coating. This is my preferred method. I use a high temperature smokeless lube and a gas check. And my goal is to have a bullet that will work that is a little bit bigger than the groove diameter. This did not quite work out, okay? And we will look at some dummy cartridges that I put together to test the pistol, okay? Before I start sizing everything to one size or reloading all kinds of ammo, I made some dummy rounds and tested them to see if they fit in the gun, which is just an empty case with a bullet seated to length, certain diameter, and that. So we'll go on to that next. The specs for the cartridge call for 1" 191 thousandths. This particular bullet is a blunt and not shaped like the original bullet. So the best I could do trying to extend it out with just seating past the solid base and a gas check was 1" 120 thousandths is this length here, which this did not work. These bullets here are 314, these are 312. I tried to extend the length. Didn't work out well. Why? These two here, the 314s, are just too big. When you extend it out, too much of this body engages is too big because the other bullet is tapered, pointed, and this section of the bullet, if you go to the full length, is way under the size of the rifling in the barrel. This is more of a squared off bullet. In other words, the body of this bullet is pretty much a diameter. And when you extend it out like this, it'll jam in your barrel. So I had to go 1" 60 thousandths as overall length, which is short, kind of blunted. It's the best I can do trying to use this bullet, but it works. Okay, so that's what I've been doing, is I've been experimenting all morning. And these here are just an empty case with a bullet seated and crimped on there. So after this experimentation and trying different size bullets and different bullet lengths, I've come up with this here. And now we'll take a look at it functioning. Alright, we got the pistol. Take our dummy round, place it in the magazine. And as you see, there's some room, okay, in there. How it'll function all together when I get a whole magazine full, I don't know. Hopefully they'll stay put. What we do, put our dummy round in there, and then we just snap it. If you notice, the loaded chamber indicator came up, which means it's seated in all the way. It kind of wasn't doing that with the other bullets. Actually, the slide would not lock, even on this smaller diameter but longer. It would hit the rifling, the slide would not lock, and it was jammed, and you more or less had to go and try to pull it back, maybe tap it out with a cleaning rod. But as you can see, it ejects fairly well. There's a little bit of battering on the bullet, but nothing too intense. The first one had some pretty good scallops on there. I don't know if you can see them going in there. But now I kind of got it with the narrower bullet. It isn't bouncing as hard or going in there. So that's how I tested it to make sure before I even start trying to reload the bullet. So now we got the problem. We got a bullet that'll fit. Looks like this will go in and function. We're going to try this out. And this is a 312 diameter bullet with a gas check. Okay. So now load data. Alright, load data, this is where the fun stops. I cannot really give you any idea on load data because I have no idea myself. Okay, I've watched a few other videos and people try different powders. They try, one guy was trying blue dot, I believe, because he figured it was a long cartridge, a little longer burning, this and that. So you go through your reloading manuals, and just looking at the reloading manuals and at the different cartridges, you can get somewhat of an idea. Okay. Now this pistol is sort of like a little scaled down 45. This does lock up. Okay, this is not a blowback auto. Now a lot of people, when they try to reload for this, they can't get the gun to function. So what do you do when you have no idea what powder to use or anything? We got a bullet, we got a case. I just use CCI primers, just regular small pistol primers. Well, what you do is you come up with a powder. Now there's a lot of them, and the reason I have problems whenever I do these videos is I will suggest a powder that I feel comfortable with, and then everyone tries to substitute it with something else or something they have or something different. Okay, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to experiment with bullseye. Alright, so irregardless of whatever powder you use, and why bullseye? Because it's the most accurate, it's the most versatile. I know a lot of people don't like it. I told a guy a load with bullseye, and he goes, "Oh, that smokes, and it's old powder and it makes me." Who gives a crap? The cartridges are accurate as hell. Okay? So that's probably what I'm going to experiment with, and I got my own method of extrapolation. If you are not comfortable, and that's why I'm not going to tell you exactly how I'm going to do it, because don't just plug in something you think will work. You got to know what, okay, there is no knowns. They give you a velocity or something, you know, so you got an idea. So you shouldn't be putting something in this gun where the cast bullet is going faster than that velocity. Okay, number one, you should have a chronograph. I know most people don't. Okay. You start off with something in a smaller cartridge, you're using a type of powder, and usually bullseye is an extremely fast burning powder. Fire this gun, and your start load, the action should not function. It should be so low powered that the gun doesn't function right. That's where you start to be safe. As you gradually increase, and with a pistol or something, it's just a couple tenths at a time. Get it to where this gun will function, okay, without getting too insane. You know, check your brass, know what you're doing. This is advanced reloading. This is like wildcatting, okay, and see what you can get. Now, just to have the gun go off and eject the shell, a lot of people, the problem is they are not getting any accuracy. This gun's shooting all over the place, okay, and this is a problem a lot of guys are running into. So that's why I'm going to go and start with bullseye, because it is kind of accurate. Do not go with 7.62 by 25 load data. Okay, approach that with caution, no matter what you're using, because that's a way hot cartridge. I don't know what this cartridge should be. In other words, I've never fired one. Okay, if I fired the gun with good ammo, I could tell, you know, is it as hot as a 7.60? This is where you gotta be careful. Now, if I do my run and do my time with bullseye and I don't like it, the next best thing you can try, Unique is another good powder, and I've seen some in the cast bullet manual, something in a type of cartridge, red dot, shotgun powder. That may be the ticket. So first choice bullseye, second choice red dot. Okay, but if you do not understand how to do this and you have no experience, okay, do not just pick a friggin' load out of the book that does not correspond and do that. All right, but that's my first assumption is bullseye. and we'll see how it goes. I can't remember. I think I may have used blue dot, like one guy's suggestion. I seen him do a video where he was using it. I used it with the 32 bullet. But see, the thing is tuning the accuracy, and these powders might not be good. You might have to try 4 or 5 different powders until you find one that'll work right for you, okay? And that's just the long and short of it. So I made this to show you how I developed these loads for these different calibers when there is no data, okay? I'm not going to convey this information in the future because, like I said, there's all this confusion. I make the video and I get a bunch of emails of people asking me questions that are answered in the video, which tells me they're not paying attention. So I'm putting myself at risk making a video talking about loading for a caliber that there is no published load data. Okay, I'm going to try this one more time. Now, this is what I use. Do not email me and ask me, hey, I'm going to use this set of dies. I'm using a set of Rcbs dies, or if you got a set from CH4D, which are the actual dies for this caliber. Okay, not something close or substituting or neck sizing or whatever, dies for the caliber. Okay. And usually people who got enough savvy already know all this, so. But this is what I'm going to do, okay? And I'm going to take my crack at trying to get this accurate now. Now, if you paid attention, if you listened, and that, you know, this one, I'm just putting out, go down to the description box and fund me page. The PayPal fund me page, your money pools, pay me pool, send me a donation, okay, if this helped you, okay? If it kind of didn't, and I'll see how this is, but if I get a lot of flack and feedback, then videos like this from now on are going to be a private thing that you contact me and we will negotiate it, and I will set up something where it will all be private. This is kind of one of the last public ones I'm going to do. I'm reloading. I'm going to take a chance, see if people listen to me, okay? And that. So, hope you enjoy it. Like I said, just watch it over again, pause it, write down the stuff. You know, give it a shot. All right.